Hello, this is Mike Lively from Northern Kentucky University, and today we're going to do 3ds Max. And so this is a live session. You guys are in for a real treat. I got to tell you that of all the graphics software I've ever worked with, 3ds Max for developing 3D objects is the best. It's fantastic. And so it's not free though. That's the problem. So you're going to chunk out maybe $100 or $200 to get this at the educational discount. But if you're not in education, it's really, really expensive. But it's wonderful. What we're going to do here is just a short introduction on 3ds Max, and then next week we're going to do Blender. And Blender is the free version of 3D modeling software, and you really just need to put on a different mentality when you use Blender, and so we'll talk about that. So this is an introduction about handling objects with 3ds Max. I'm going to go through here and show you the software, and you might say, hey, I really like that, I want to learn more. And I have a whole series on YouTube on how to use 3ds Max. And this will be going on YouTube as well. That's why I'm recording it today. If you have questions, feel free to stop me. It actually makes the recording more rich. So what we're going to cover today basically is handling objects, and we're going to talk about naming objects, the transforming gizmos. When we did Second Life, we talked about gizmos a little bit, and I stumbled around with it because I'm so used to using 3ds Max now that I forgot how to use Second Life. We're going to talk about moving, rotating, and scaling. That's really the three biggies that you do when you work with the coordinate systems of vertices. Now, there are three coordinate systems we're going to talk about today: world coordinates, local coordinates, and what I'm going to call the PIC coordinates, or the coordinates of another object that you can use to transformate your object with. Pivot points, how to set those, and hiding and freezing objects, and cloning objects. Very important, very easy to duplicate objects in 3ds Max. It's a shift key, but there's three types of duplication. It could be a copy, an incident, or a reference, and we'll talk about that later. And then grouping objects, and what I'm going to do, as opposed to going through each one of these and boring you to death, I'm actually going to draw three sets of objects. And as I draw those, I'm going to bring your attention to the different techniques that I'm using, okay? And then it'll be a little bit more interesting. So we're going to create a cup with ice and a straw in it. We're going to build a telescope, which is my favorite, and then we're going to build a ramp, which is really simple, but it shows you how to use the PIC coordinate system, okay? So we're going to get off of this, and we're going to do that, and just stop me if you have a question, or if I run over something, I don't explain something fully, feel free to ask me. Here is 3ds Max, and you've got this little viewport right here where you draw, and here's some of the primitives. Now, we've talked about primitives in Second Life, so you know what that is. And you can see there's a sphere, a cone, a cylinder, and we'll be using those to draw our objects today. And here are different tools that we can use, and let's just get right to it. So I'm going to draw a cup with a straw and ice. So ice would be what? What kind of primitive do you think I'd use? Well, box, right, for ice cubes. Cup would be what? Well, that's kind of hard, right? Cylinder, or maybe I'm going to try a cone. Absolutely. And a straw would be what? A tube. So yeah, a tube. Actually, a cylinder and a tube are a little bit different because a tube is hollow. Okay, so let me go ahead and draw a tube for you, and let's make our straw. So I'm going to draw my little tube right there. There you go, and I'm just going to, and see you have an outer and inner radius, and then you just pull that up. There you go. Okay. Now here's my first set of controls. I actually want to hit the Z key, kind of get that into perspective, all right? And I'm going to open this up a little bit so we can see it a little bit more fully. Okay. Good. And let me bring this back down. Okay, I see. Actually, I thought I was in 3ds Max 9. I'm actually in 3ds Max 8, and that's okay. We can continue to do this as well. So at this point, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a cup. So I'm going to move this out of the way. So we have three sets of possibilities. We have the move tool, right? So that's a W key. See right here? I can grab these arrows and move. Just let me hit the W again. I can move up and down in the Z direction, the Y direction. Now, a lot of people go in the X direction. How do I remember what color is which axis? Okay, so you ever heard how you name colors? Roy G. Biv. So it's red, green, blue, red G. So go RGB XYZ. Okay, RGB XYZ. So R is X, right? G is green, Z is blue. So this is what's called a gizmo, a transformation gizmo. It allows you to transformate, and whatever you highlight, that actually gives you the ability to transform. So see, actually, if I've highlighted two things at once, that means I can transform in the Z and X direction. Or if I come over here and I highlight this side, I can transform in the Y and X direction. And same way if I go around as well. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And so I got my straw right here, and I can actually change its color from this little button right here. I could actually make it a different color if I wanted to. Now I have sound. So let's make it red, for example. Hit OK. And that should have changed color, and I'm not in the right program, and so that's why I'm kind of having some difficulty here. Hit OK. There you go. I changed my color. Good. All right, I'm going to move this out of the way. And the next thing I'm going to make is a cup. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring a cone out on the stage. I'm going to draw a cone. There you go. I'm going to go up, and I'm going to click again, but I don't want my cone to go in. I want it to go out. So there you go. And that's a cup. But I need a hole in my cup, right? So what I need to do is something called turn this into an editable poly so I can actually work on it. Change its, in a sense, its vertices, its edges, its polygons. So what I'm going to do is right-click on the stage here with this selected. And a menu item comes up here and it says Convert to, and just choose Editable Poly. There you go. Cool. And I have a list of things I can choose from. I can choose vertexes, edges, borders, polys, and elements. So what the heck is all that stuff? What I'm going to do here is hit my F4 key. That gives me the wireframe mode. So I hit F4. You can see it's suddenly lit up in wireframe on top of the object. Let me just click on vertex, and you can see all the dots that connect the lines. Those are vertices. Of course, edges are what? The lines between the dots. The border, we won't go into that, but the polygon is actually the different sides. Okay? And that's what you really need sometimes to work on. That's what we're going to need right now is this polygon, and I'm going to select that top polygon because I want to push that down. Now in order to do that, I want to bevel that. Now a bevel is a combination of two motions. It's actually pushing down and pushing in. So the shortcut key for that is Control-Shift-B. Now you probably think I'm a genius to know all these shortcut keys, right? But I'm going to show you where to find them at. If you go here to Custom, and you click on Custom User Interface, give it a little second here. It's double processing. And process. You get everything that's possible in 3ds Max, and you see by each one of these there's a chamfer command, Shift Control C, and there's the cycle active snap, and just all these different commands. And not only that, if you don't have one here, you can actually come along here and create your own hotkey. So this is extremely useful, and there's a few commands, and it really depends on the project that you're working on. So one project may not need a certain command, one may need it a lot, and it may not have you may not have the hotkey for that. So you'll create your own hot, and you'll be using it and using it and using it, and then you'll go to the next one. I typically don't like to create more than 4 or 5 of my own hotkeys because then I forget them. Okay, everything has its own hotkey, so it's nice to have some that you always go back to over and over again. So that's where you get that from. So my particular key was Control-Shift-B for bevel, and so now you see how that kind of highlights. I'm going to, oops. Control-Z that. It did not like what I did. I actually want to get on that a little bit more, so I can hit Alt-Z. Alt-Z allows me to zoom in and zoom out. Control-P allows me to pan. See, when I got a little hand here, so I can pan that around where I want to. I'll hit Alt-Z again to kind of zoom in. And see, it's kind of a painful process, isn't it? And that's just the way it is. So once again, I want to be on polygon. Now, I can actually use my number keys. If I hit 1, that's vertex, 2 is edge, 3 is border, 4 is polygon. See? So if I want to go real fast, so when I work with 3ds Max, I have this 1-2 hand combination going on. My left hand's doing all the shortcut keys, my right hand's moving the mouse and the mouse button. So it makes it really fast. And if you're in the business where you're sleeping on your desk, these shortcut keys will speed you up. So I Control-Shift-B and pray that it works this time. And it's not. I don't know what it's trying to. Oh, there it is. Now it's beveling. Oh, I see. It's beveling wherever it wants to bevel. That's weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me Control-Shift again. And let me Control-Z. Let me Z this out. Let me get off of that real quick and take a look one more time. There we go. Now I got the bevel sign there. Now it's doing what I don't know. I was on something weird. So the problem is you see it's black. And you're going, why is that black? Because you're looking at the outside. That's called, there's something in 3D graphics called the normal. And the normal is the outside facing vector of the polygon plane. So if the normal is facing you, you can see it. Now the reason it's black is telling you, hey look, the normal's not facing you. You can't see me. Alright? So if I actually render this, it'll be invisible. So I don't like that, but it's because it's flowing over the cup. So if I let go now and I squeeze in, now I can make the inside of my cup so it's on the inside. It was just too far over the cup, you see. So I just come in and there's the bottom of my cup. And I'm going to kind of go with that and pray that's okay. And then I can Control R to kind of arc rotate around. Now in 3ds Max 9, they have these little squares on the side that allow you to do the arc rotation around. Here you have to actually use Control R in 3ds Max 8. So now I have a cup and I have a straw. I have one more thing to make, and what is that? Ice. Now, let's just